Lord forgive me for this trap shit. Sergeant Smack making backflip. Telly Hank did with the action. With the vital speaking Spanish. Frank Matthews, how I vanished. Poof. Came back like I'm King Tut. Gold BBS is on a beamer. When Fat Cat was 10 queens up. Ball off the profit, not the re-up. Fly like Puerto Rican Jesus. Uptown like I'm Baby May. Just caught a touchdown from the bay.
And I guess I got shot 9 times, twice in the head, one in the neck, one in the shoulder, and the rest was in the leg. My leg got broke from the gunshot wound. So when I came back into the body, I got up off the floor, walked into the bedroom and seen all the bodies on the floor. And I felt guilty, man. I felt like it was my fault, like, damn, man. So I climbed in the bed, put the covers over me, my brother. And I just wanted to die, man. I wanted to wake up dead. Next thing you know, I woke up, I'm in the hospital with my moms and my sister and my girl over me saying, yo, who did this? Who did this? And that's how that happened, bro. I knew, you know, the cat, Kevin Clark, I knew it was him. To this day, I regret me knowing their voice because I felt like if I didn't know their voice, maybe they wouldn't have shot everybody. Maybe, but I recognized him and tried to talk to him like, yo, Kev, what you doing, man? That's when he flipped out. Don't say my fucking name, you know what I mean? That's when he started barking out, snatched the mask off. Most definitely, all right, let me put it like this. What up? After that happened, when they asking me, you know, my sisters and them, they all asking, who did this, who did this, who did this? When I'm in the hospital, this is how the police approach me. I'm in the hospital, the doctor's trying to save me. The police come, the detectives, and I think a Bronx DA was with them. Because it was a serious situation, man. 5 people found shot up in the Bronx. So, was you present at 1295, the Grand Concourse at a certain time, blah, 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 blah? Yes. You feel me? Who was you with? You know they're all dead, right? You know you're the only one that could, you know you're dying, right? I said, now what, dude? I don't know the other 2 cats. You feel me? So, who shot you? And I was like, Kevin. You feel me? It was like, Kevin who? I said, my sister's boyfriend. I didn't really think I knew his last name at that time. Did he act alone? I said, no, he had 2 others with him.
This is the 10 o'clock news.
Welcome back. The streets of the Bronx are a lot safer tonight.
That's right, Rosanna, because 2 vicious killers are in jail for life. You're about to see the judge throw the book at them, but not before they made one last defiant stand. Mark Sheehan reports.
It was a humid August night outside along the Grand Concourse as the 3 killers silently crept up 3 flights of stairs, then down this hallway to this corner apartment. Once they pushed their way inside, they rounded up 6 friends, one of them a 13-year-old girl. They shoved them back into a rear bedroom, made them lie on the floor, and then pumped 25 shots into the backs of their heads and bodies.
All we worry about is if the Yankees are going to stay in the Bronx. That's all we worry about. We're not concerned about human beings. I hope that they die. You said your piece? I said my piece. Give me my time. I'll get out of here.
Odds are Henry Bolden and Ronald Timmons will never set foot on a city street again. The brazen killers were sentenced to 112 years to life for the execution-style murders of 3 and the shooting of 3 other Bronx people in 1987.
One of the most iconic lines in Gang Starr's song, Just to Get a Rep, was the stick-up kids is out to tax sample that they used from Greg Nice. Well, they was talking about Henry Bolden. Yo, we back. It's your guy Popalot. Now today I'm going to be telling you guys the story of one of the most infamous robbers or stick-up kids that was roaming New York City in the 1980s, where during the course of his stick-up career, he would go on to rob two of the biggest kingpins that the game has ever seen. Now, that person I'm talking about is going to be a guy by the name of Henry RonDu Bolden, who would come from a family of four brothers, Curtis, Ernest, and Robert being the others, with the family coming out of the Claremont houses in the Bronx. The four brothers, all ruthless in their own right, along with their cousin Isaac, but it would be Henry Bolden who would write his name in the Book of Infamy in August of 1987. Now, to really understand the risk that Henry Bolden would take during the course of his life, you would really have to understand the times that he was taking those risks in. Now, in the 1980s, specifically the mid-1980s, though New York City was rampant with crime, money was flowing around in the city, or had begun to float around due to the rise of the crack game. But the thing that you got to keep in mind is that before crack came around, not a lot of people was into the drug game, as the price of cocaine was sky high. So it was only a few people that were drug dealers before crack. And based on what a lot of the OGs that was in the game, especially in the New York City era, tell me about this time, most of the people that would go on to be crack dealers was robbers and pickpocketers before crack hit the scene. And by the time crack would roll around, I heard so many people explain it in so many different ways, how they was influenced by it, especially seeing somebody that didn't have nothing. So say like you went to jail for a year and the nigga that you knew was bummy, you came home and that nigga was driving the Benz. So I really want to say it was like double intrigue, because you knew this dude was a bummy nigga, but you also like, I was only gone for a year and this nigga got a Benz. So with that lore, a lot of people was brought in, but you also got to think it was probably several individuals that was in the robbery game that when crack rolled around and they seen the amount of money that the people were getting, they didn't convert to that game. They just stuck to where the money was at. In comes the stick-up kid. And though it's more notable robbers that would come out of New York City, guys like Kelvin 50 Cent Martin and King Tut, just to name a few, but it ain't going to be too many stick-up kids that could say that they took off guys bigger than Henry Bolden did. Now, based on my research, it looks like Henry Bolden and pretty much most of his brothers would go on to live a life of crime. But I'm going to focus in on one specific month and one specific year, and that's going to be August of 1987, and pretty much two incidents, one of which would cost him the life of his cousin, and another that would go on to pretty much get him a life sentence. Now, the first I want to focus on is an alleged robbery of Lorenzo Fat Cat Nichols and his organization. Now, allegedly, Henry Bolden, along with his cousin Isaac, would go on to rob notorious Queens kingpin Fat Cat. Now, according to the New York Times, Lorenzo Fat Cat Nichols, who was incarcerated at the time, would enlist the help of another top dog drug kingpin in Queens at the time, Gerald Prince Miller, who at the time was the head of the notorious Supreme Team, due to Kenneth Supreme McGriff being incarcerated on a drug beef. Gerald Prince Miller would lean on two female parole officers that had been associated with the Supreme Team in order to find out the location of the two men. After finding out the information that he needed, Henry Bolden would eventually be shot and wounded due to his part in the robbery, but his cousin Isaac wouldn't fare so lucky. After being located, he would end up being shot and killed, leading to the most infamous act that would occur on August 21st, 1987, when well-known drug dealer AZ Faison would be checking in on one of his stash houses at his aunt's apartment at 1295 the Grand Concourse. Now, just like in the movie Paid in Full, when AZ would arrive to the apartment, he would be accosted by 3 men, one of which, Kevin Clark, who would be portrayed as Calvin in the movie Paid in Full, along with 2 more sinister individuals. One, Ronald Timmons, whose family was well known to the police due to him and his brother's extensive criminal history, with the other being Henry RonDu Bolden. And when the 3 men were done in the apartment, 6 people would be shot, including a 13-year-old girl, with 3 of them, Myra Enoch, who was 50 years old, along with Joan Blue, who was 44 years old, who, according to the New York Times, lived in the apartment at the time, along with a 23-year-old by the name of Charles Parker. The surviving victims would be the 13-year-old girl, Lynette Bell, along with a 34-year-old named Michael Lamar, and AZ, who was 23 years old at the time. Now, with AZ surviving the robbery, on his deathbed pretty much, he was able to identify his sister's boyfriend, Kevin Clark. That would eventually lead to the arrest of Kevin Clark, along with Ronald Timmons and RonDu Bolden. And in almost a snapback of the criminal system, who had been on top of them their entire lives, Ronald Timmons and Ronald Bolden would pretty much go off on the judge, with Ronald Timmons saying, all you guys care about is if the Yankees are going to stay in New York. Just give me my time and I'm ready to go. During the trial, he would pretty much go back and forth with the shooting victim, Michael Lamar, claiming that he wasn't the one who shot the 6 people. And after Michael Lamar would back up his claim, saying, yes, you are, Ronald Timmons would say, I hope you catch AIDS and die. So these dudes pretty much wasn't going for nothing. And it's also a wide account that they're still behind the wall causing havoc in the prison system. Though that's not 100% confirmed. And if it's anybody that know what's going on behind them walls, y'all get in the comment box. Now, the pair would eventually get sentenced to 112 years for the heinous crime that would occur at 1295 the Grand Concourse, in what would go down as one of the most infamous acts to occur in not only the drug game, but just New York City's history in general. Now, y'all make sure y'all hit that red bell and subscribe button right under this video so y'all know when this real trill spill shit is dropping. Y'all get in the comment box. Y'all run it up. Y'all let me know what cities we need to go to, what stories we need to tell, what I got wrong, what I missed, what gangsters we got to cover. Hit me directly, Instagram, Twitter, POP_A_LOT. And until the next time, y'all know the verdict. Salute the almighty mob.